Hey everybody, just when you thought barn find vehicles are a thing of the past, have all the good ones been found already? Well, I want to tell you an interesting story of my friend Jack who found his dream car and how easy it actually was. Now I want to start out by saying the definition of barn find has changed a bit. It more or less now means a vehicle that is hard to find, a valuable item recovered from an undeserving storage, usually in the countryside, where it lays more or less forgotten, especially vintage automobiles. So to give you some perspective of my friend Jack, he has loved 1967 to 1969 Ford Torinos since he was a small child. His parents' family car was a 1968 Torino GT and also had a 1969 Fairlane Cobra 428 4-speed car. And when Jack was in high school, the second car he ever owned was a 1969 Fairlane Fastback. And since then, he has bought and sold nearly 25 Torinos and Cyclones over the years. But after a while, he started to dabble in Fox body Mustangs and first-gen Ford Lightnings for a bit. But after all this, he wanted to find his forever car, which had to be a 1968 Torino GT. He started searching on Facebook Marketplace and found one in Kentucky sitting in someone's backyard that they were willing to sell. It is a raven black with gold stripes 1968 Ford Torino GT with a sports roof, white bucket seats with a console, 390 Y-code 2-barrel engine, C6 automatic transmission, and a 2.75 geared rear end. It has power steering, power brakes, and no air conditioning. It is a one-owner car with 88,000 miles and was bought in Kentucky and stayed in Kentucky its whole life. The lady that purchased the car originally was an employee at a Ford dealership and saw this car come in on the transport that day. She decided to write a check and buy it for $3,062. And oddly enough, she saved the original processed check and put it in the files folder for this car. And the check that was written in 1968 still looks new today. So to backtrack a bit, Jack saw the car listed on Facebook Marketplace on a Monday evening and messaged the owner. They wrote back saying someone was coming to look at the car on Tuesday. It turns out the guy ended up not having enough money for the car and was going to have to get a loan for it. And that most likely wouldn't happen because banks aren't giving loans out for old crusty muscle cars these days. So the owner messaged Jack back and said, "The car is yours if you still want it." Jack left at noon the next day driving the 10-hour trip from Wisconsin to Kentucky and ended up buying the car on Wednesday morning and loaded it up for the 10-hour drive back home. On a side note, and a tip when talking to owners of classic cars, don't be shy to tell them your full intentions when purchasing. This is a text message my buddy sent the owner. "I've been looking for a black 68 Torino GT for a long time. My son and I would love to bring this back to its original beauty. This is a classy car and deserves to be restored and brought back." And this is how the owner responded back. That could have been the text that let you jump in line in front of 30 other people. We're wanting someone who appreciates the car to get it. So when they brought the car home, they started right away on the cleanup process and pressure washing as much of the solid growth on the outside as they could. They wiped down the interior and got the white seats looking nice again. The plans for the car is to keep it as a survivor and not fully restore it. Just fix or replace what is wrong with the car and enjoy it the way it is and preserve the car so it doesn't deteriorate any further than it currently is. Jack's son Tom fired up the buffer and tried to see if he could revive the original paint on the car. He had some really good success at this. I think it turned out awesome looking. Yeah. Thought he was afraid to do that.
He gets carried away.
The underside of the car is a little crusty, but very solid actually for being outdoors since 1968. And the engine, which hasn't been started since 2004, did turn over by hand, but they wanted to wait to fire it up so they could put some oil down the cylinders to reduce the shock of starting it up after all these years. It fired up just fine and moved under its own power for the first time in a long time. Here are some current day pictures of the car, cleaned up a bit more and added some new period correct rims and tires. If you have a barn find story, I'd love to hear about it. Just drop a quick comment down below and let me know what you saved or a story of a car you've heard about being saved. Thank you for watching and Happy New Year to everyone!